Hello everyone, George Packard with Family Lawn and Landscape, and today we're going to talk about what to do when depression sets in. Hello everyone, George Packard, Family Lawn and Landscape, and today we are going to talk about things to do when depression sets in. If you're in the lawn care industry or you're in any industry, I don't care what it is, depression hits. You will have days when you just don't know what to do because you are just exhausted. You're spent. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about the things that I do to kind of help me out through these periods, okay? It sucks. It absolutely sucks, but it's inevitable. Everyone at one point in their life, and probably 100 times in their life, run across this depression thing. Now, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I can tell you this, that I have been there 100 times, okay? All I want to do today is tell you things that I've done that made things better for me and people around me. There are many times where, for example, I have been on the brink of bankruptcy because of decisions I've made, poor decisions, or things that were out of my control that just happened. Just things like the economy took a dump, things like that. I mean, there's always been things. And, things that happen that you can't control, okay? So know that going in, there's always going to be these things that you have no control over. It's how you react to them that makes the difference. Early on, I thought, here's a good example. My own personal story. I worked for Kmart for 13 years and as a loss control manager for them. And anyway, one year they called me in the day after Christmas and fired every loss control associate for the entire company, okay? I was very upset, and to make matters worse, I was never able to buy my wife a nice ring, ever, because I just never had the money. So, that year, I had decided, I'd been with them for 13 years, and I had saved my money, and I said, you know what, this year, I'm gonna buy her a nice diamond ring. And I did, and I spent every ounce of money that I had, which was a foolish decision in hindsight. I don't know about that, whatever. Bought that ring, gave it to her at Christmas. She was happy, and I was happy because I had actually given her something that I always wanted to give her. So she had a nice ring like, all the others had, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the very next day, they called me in, they fired us. And that was one of the lowest points of my life because I had never been fired from a job, ever. And they fired me. And I couldn't believe it. My store manager actually cried. When he had to tell me, that he was letting me go. And it was horrible, just horrible. I can't tell you how horrible I felt. So anyway, it's one of them things where, it was a deciding factor to me that, never again would I put my faith in a big company like that they would have control of my destiny, so to speak. And that was a turning point for me to really, really kick me in the ass to make me get my business going. And I thought, if I fail, now it's on me. Now it's 100% on me. There's no one else to blame. But I damn sure am not going to give them 13 years of my life again and let this happen to me. And that can happen anywhere because job security is just non-existent, okay? So, having said that, it does suck, and everybody goes through this. So it's how you deal with it. I made a decision at that point. I was going to change my life, and it turned out to be for the better, and I hope that all of you do the same. If you're thinking about getting into lawn care, or if you do have a lawn care business, You can make it work. Learn all you can. Just keep pushing forward. It's how you deal with things, okay? Not the end of the world, okay? I've had some of my managers and co-workers that have worked with me, and they have gone through the same things, and everybody goes through them. They really do. So it's just how you handle them, and one of the best things that I've found is talking to people, okay? Like, I talk everything over with my wife. I talk to her all the time, and my kids and whatnot, and the disappointment sometimes that I see in my wife's eyes or my kids' eyes, like, if Dad, are you going to make it to the game? And I made that decision to finish that job and work that job. That was a bad decision on my part. I never should have done that because I created disappointment in my children's eyes. And I see that now, but I didn't see it back then. Or if the bills are tight and you're ready for bankruptcy because you gambled on the advertising for this or new equipment or this and that, it's always stress. And it's always that disappointing look that you get in their eyes when you come home at night and you tell them the bad news that, I remember when a skid steer of ours went down and it was like $8,000 to fix, and we didn't have the money to fix it. And we were just, I was just spent. And to have to tell my wife that, I'd rather just hit my thumb with a frickin' hammer, But I had to do it, and so I did it, and it was horrible. And it's one of those things where you have to do it. You have to work through it. You've got to work through it and push yourself through it. I know guys that have been depressed for so many years that they never worked through it. They never pushed through it. They never narrowed it down to, how do I fix the problem? They're just like, hey, I have this problem and I'm depressed, and they went into this depression and they became an alcoholic and they drink all the time, or they're into drugs or this and that. The stories I could tell you guys, and I'm sure people just like that. Do you think for 1 minute that homeless guy on that corner wants to be there? Get the point of that. If he's truly a homeless guy, and I'm not talking about the scammers, get that out of the way. Get those guys right out of the way, the guys that scam for money. But that homeless guy, do you think he wants to be there? He doesn't want to be there. Something happened in his life that changed. He was born just like you and I. Something happened in his life that really destroyed him. If you don't talk to people and work through your issues with that stuff, that could happen to you. I know this because I was there. At one time, I was living on park benches out in the middle of our city because I had nowhere to go. I felt that I knew it all, so I left my parents' house. I went on my own. Friends, family, all that kind of stuff, I just kind of pushed them off to the side and living under those park benches. And I'll tell you what, that was another very low point in my life, where I just thought everything was over. And, got into a lot of things, got into a lot of trouble, but things have changed. Things are way better. And I had people that helped me also through this, but talking to people is a huge thing. Talking to people is probably paramount. Get it off your back. Find somebody you trust and talk to them, okay? Talk to them and work through your problems. Find out what the problem is and work through it. Okay, if you don't do that and you sit back and just say, oh, woe me, this is terrible, it's just going to eat on you, fester in you, and just get worse and worse and worse. And more things are going to happen that are worse for you. Okay, so think about that. Reach out to your family, reach out to your friends, reach out to a pastor. I had a guy back in the park bench thing, and I hate to drag this thing out, but here's the thing. I was completely down. I was at the bottom of the barrel. This guy brought me into a church, and Pastor Vensky was his name, brought me into that church. He helped me find Jesus Christ, okay? And I became saved at that point in my life. I never looked back. Whenever one door closes, another one opens. Memorize that. Memorize that, because I'm telling you, it's true. God watches out for you. This is not it is what it is. In my life, without God in my life, I don't know what I would be, but it wouldn't be good. I know that. I'm somewhat violent in nature. As far as things go, I've had tendencies in the past to be that way. I'm a lot better now, but without God in my life, things change, and not for the better. I'm just throwing it out there for what it's happened in my life, okay? So, walk off, cool off. I know a guy that interviewed for a job with us that murdered his wife because he found her cheating, and I can't even fathom that. I mean, I've been angry. I've been very angry, and everybody, I'm sure, has gotten there at one point or another. And I just can't wrap myself around that. I just can't. You got to walk off, cool off, get away from it. That's what you got to do. Get away, cool down, come back, talk about things. It may not be easy. It's probably not going to be easy, because whatever started that argument to begin with pissed you off so bad that you had this big blow up that you want to just choke her. Don't do it. Get out of there. Come back. Work through it. It may take 2-3 times of doing it, but you'll work through it. Okay? You will. So, that being said, if that stuff doesn't work, man, you better get some help. You better go somewhere else. I can only tell you things that have worked for me, talking to my brother or my mom and dad or, my wife or my kids, talking through things. I try to talk through everything, things that bother me. If I let them build up inside me, it becomes bad and it becomes ugly, because then I blow up. There could be, here's a perfect example. I could go out and have a terrible day at work. Everything went wrong. The equipment broke, employees didn't show up on time, something bad happened at the job site. If I take that home and I just keep it inside me, and then I start out tomorrow and more things happen, which they will, that just accumulated. That just built on top of it. And all of a sudden, come the end of the week, my wife asked me a simple question like, could you take out the garbage? And I blow my frickin' stack at her because I just can't take it. What do you people want from me? Blah, 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 blah. I'm working 24/7, yada, 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 yada. She didn't have that coming, but I let all those small things build up and build up and build up throughout the week. And when I finally couldn't take it anymore, I just blew a gasket. Those are the things that have been my Achilles heel my entire life. So now what I do instead, when something bothers me, I talk about it. I talk about it right away. And 9 out of 10 times, my wife will call me down and she'll just say, George, things are going to be fine. Or the kids will say, Dad, come on. You've been through this. That's not a big deal. Tomorrow's another day. I get that. Or even just myself even, just to talk to Jesus and say, hey, here's what's going on. What do you think? And when I wake up in the morning, all of a sudden, I have the solution. Things are fine. Things are better. So I didn't mean to drag that out. I'm sorry it got so long, you guys, but I wanted to share that stuff with you because I know everyone goes through it. And anyway, leave me your comments down below. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them on there, and I'll be happy to answer them. So, see you guys. Good luck.